other grandparents, and that was really important to them to understand friendly, loving feelings.
The old-fashioned way is the best, I think. You show affection and love for their parents and grandparents by embracing them and kissing them. And high-fiving is irrelevant, I think.
Well, there you go. Some thoughts there. Joining us now to talk about this is the psychologist Corinne Sweet and the journalist Morag Cuddeford-Jones, both mothers as well. Morning, both. Thanks very much for joining us. Let's just sort of set out the stall, Morag. Where are you on the kissing and cuddling of grandparents?
I definitely think they should. You know, grandparents wait all year for a visit. The one thing they're owed is a bit of a kiss and a snog. And I know it's a bit scary for small children going up. You know, grandparents look different. They behave differently. They're not used to their mum, you know, doing things differently. So, but, you know, they've waited a long time and they don't get as many kisses and cuddles as us mums and dads do. So I think it's a small sacrifice to make, don't you think?
So, Corinne, when you hear people saying children should be given, if you be asked if they're comfortable with that, is that the right way to go about doing that?
I'm afraid I would agree with that, because I think if children are secure in their relationship with their parents or their carers, it's good attachment. The word is attachment. You know, it means that they feel safe, they feel trust, they know where they are. They meet strangers they haven't seen for a long time, and I'm afraid a lot of grandparents are sort of strangers. In my family particularly, that's true. And so the child is a bit wary, and I think the grandparents need to just give it a little time. I mean, a little hug is fine, but I think just give it time, give the child some choice. And I have a joke. I mean, sometimes you just say a little microwave, you know, like a little wave. I don't think high-fiving is the way to go with grandparents particularly, but I think we are very impatient as adults to have validation from children. And I think sometimes you just need to get to know each other a bit and warm up, and then the child will spontaneously.
This all comes because Lucy Emerson, she's from the Sex Education Forum, talks about, she says a high five, blowing a kiss or wave puts the child in control and helps them to make decisions. What she seems to be talking about is forcing a child to, you know, be affectionate towards someone that they may not feel comfortable with.
I would agree, because sometimes if you haven't seen your grandparents because they're miles away, my daughter said she thought all grandparents live a long way away because that's how it is. You don't know who this person is, and children want to get to know who they're going to touch and cuddle, and I think that's totally fine. We don't need to worry about it. In the same way as if you met somebody,
so
do you want to
force
cuddle
them then?
No, I wouldn't, no.
Right.
Why would we? Why would you want to? Just because you're a relative. You don't have that instant magnetic Velcro. It just isn't necessarily there.
I think when we're talking about forcing is a really strong word, and often I have to persuade my children to do it, sometimes with a little bit of bribery, because they grow self-conscious. I have a 5-year-old and a 9-year-old, and the 5-year-old's still very much in that huggy kiss. He'll kiss anything that moves, and the 9-year-old is getting very aware of his space. And no, I don't want to kiss Granny, I don't do kissing. And I have to say to him, OK, there was an interesting thing in that research that said the child's values and how their opinion is valued. So I ask him and say, why don't you want to kiss Granny? Oh, because she's a bit funny and she doesn't say the right things. She's 101, she's not going to be saying the right things. But equally, children need empathy. They need to know that other people have needs, and Granny hasn't had a hug for a long time, and she really craves that little child giving her a hug. So that's part of my teaching him to understand that other people may... You don't have to do everything you really, really don't want to. But not a high five, but, you know, a stroke, or put your cheek against her if you don't like that slobby kiss.
I think, with all due respect, I would say that there's certain ages at which children can really begin to understand those things, and maybe 5 is a bit early. By the time you're 7, probably, that you could understand empathy with other people. But I think when a child is feeling shy and they're doing this, I wouldn't coerce them in any way. I would just give it time.
And of course, the issue isn't just about grandparents, is it, actually, as well? It's about other relatives as well, and the wider family circle, isn't it?
Yeah, I think when the stranger they are, the less keen I am to say to my child, oh, come on, it's not fair. Granny, yes. A close auntie, my sister, my husband's brother, yes. But second cousins they haven't seen for 5 years. We have a bunch of French family who are all over the 2-3 kisses and the very demonstrative, and we're still quite British about it.
Have you ever had a moment with your children where they've had a hug with someone and your alarm bells are ringing and theirs are not?
I don't think my alarm bells have rung. My alarm bells ring because my 5-year-old seems to think it's appropriate. He's heard about French kissing and now wants to try that out. That's making I'm having to